welcome back out here at the 100 Acre Woods. So today is going to be mostly a cleanup day. So they're still working here at the property, putting up power poles. So they actually have behind me loaded up some that are going to go to another site, it looks like. So they have the trailer all loaded up and so they got the two on the other side of the pond done. So I think they're done here, but they're using this as a site to get some other poles done. So since they've been here, we haven't done a whole lot of mowing or anything. I haven't come over with the zero turn. So stuff's kind of gotten a little tall. So we got a pretty good wheat field going. The bush hog hooked up. Right now we're just kind of checking it out, sharpening the blades, make sure that there's oil in the gearbox, and get all this knocked down. Later in the week, I'll come back with the zero turn and get everything mowed down so it's kind of a more nice finish. But to start with, we need to start with the zero turn. Probably go back in the woods a little bit and kind of get some of that area cleaned up as well so I can mow it. And then we want to get some logs. We just brought the little tractor this time, so we have room on the tilt trailer to put some logs on and get those back to the home site so we can work on milling those up, and they won't be here. So just kind of basic cleanup and getting stuff kind of back in order now that the grass is growing and everything's getting tall again. Had that stuff over there that we needed to move, so they had this kind of out there, so that's what we had here. And probably gonna walk this real quick before start mowing, just because we did have some little baby duck or turkeys. So there was a mama turkey hunkered down in the tall grass, and then some babies surrounding it. The mama got scared off, and the babies are still kind of around. So I'm gonna walk it just to kind of make sure to get the babies shoot off into the woods. Wouldn't want to accidentally get them. But even though we've had quite a bit of rain, some of these areas are a little wet, but with the bush hog we'll be able to get through. And you can see this is pretty tall through here, so it's up to, I don't know, my knee, a little bit better. So definitely bush hog, depending on how much there is left of the clippings. May try to take the York rake and get some of that cleaned up, just so that whenever I come back with the mower, it's not as much work for it. Because last year I did get this to where I was mowing it all with the zero turn, so it was a pretty nice yard. They've been driving through it, but are supposed to clean up whenever they're done, so hopefully it will be back to better than it was whenever they're done over here. And they'll pick all these up. So just got a quick sharpen on those, picked it up with the tractor. So we just need to double check, make sure that there's some oil in the gearbox there. Just check by pulling this plug and see if something comes out. And yeah. So here, trying to get the PTO connected. So it hadn't been used in a while, so the little collar that you pull back to make it lock on the PTO didn't want to move. So you really want to make sure that you use a little bit of WD-40 or something to make that move so that it gets locked, because you don't want that thing coming off partway through. So then the other thing I'd mention is checking the gearbox. So there's two plugs on this. So you have the drain plug and the fill plug. Basically, you just check this by making sure a little bit of oil comes out the drain plug, and that's just full. So put a little bit in, let it come out, and then looked like maybe there's a little bit of water in it, but it was just kind of an off color, but it didn't look like there ended up being water. So just filled that up, put it in when it was still coming out. So here we have a 4-foot bush hog, and normally before we had a 5-foot one, so it kind of helped stick out past the edge of the tires, which was nice, because you can kind of get a little bit past the edge of the mower. But ended up we have this 4-foot one, which is happier behind this tractor, and just mowing the edges of the road, and then doing some on between under the power lines, and then back in the woods. Of bush hog work and a whole bunch of weed, and finally have this back to looking fairly presentable. Up front here, you got bush hogs all back through there. Still need the weed. Up by the pond, there's a part of a ditch there that we need to finish putting a pipe in. We just haven't yet, but it gets wet and stays wet, so I need to weed it instead of having him track the tractor through. Then have over here where the yard hydrant is, and got some of that. It's still mostly dirt, so kind of need to grade it off, but have a little bit of grass and got it trimmed down there. So he's gonna work on mowing up around the home site, and I'm gonna finish weeding here and then see where that leaves us. So I have a fair amount of areas on the property that still need to be weeded. So we have this sickle handle Stihl weeder that we use. So here just kind of touched up around some of the metal that they had on the ground, and some spots that he didn't get the bush hog plucked in. So nothing too major here, just kind of getting it trimmed up so that it's not super tall later on. So we have this kind of French drain that we cut here. So our pipe ends there on the left that we have that runs up the property. And here we just have kind of a cut that we dug out that helps kind of collect some of the water that comes from some of the ground pressure under from the pond that's just up the hill, which I showed later in the video. But with that cut, you can only get so close with the mower, so kind of get that, and then have this wet area here. I'm gonna get that trimmed up. Alright, so I just got done mowing this area here with the weed eater. So it's a spot that has been wet for a while, and I think what's happening is the pond's over here, and I think that the hydraulic pressure of the pond is actually pushing water kind of under this dam, and it's coming up here in this area because when the pond goes down a little bit, the problem kind of goes away and this dries up. So we have our pipe that comes up and it stops. So we need to take that pipe and run it along here and head for that pole there and just put all of that in through here and do like we did up front. So that now stays really dry. If we give this place to go, all the water will collect and we'll really dry this up. So we'll put that in and then eventually we'll roll this hill here and roll it over. So I'll go up to the top here and kind of show you what I mean by that. So I'll get on over here, down, and then just work on rolling this off this way and sloping this down to meet where it was wet, and then taper this off so that this is a mowable hill with grass eventually. Right now it's just rough dirt and weeds and stuff growing in it from whenever we took, because this was just a hump and you could kind of walk along here, but it wasn't super easy. It's pretty rough and all weeds, so we did, you know, take this top off and we just pushed all the dirt off this way, so it's not in there nicely at all. It's all just kind of balled up, but eventually we'll take, after we put that pipe in, and roll this down. So that could be a project we do this summer, not 100% sure. Kind of depends on what else we have going. That would be one thing I'd like to see get done, just because it would dry that up to where it would be mowable. Then we could roll this hill where it would look a lot nicer than just the crap growing in it, and it'd be easier to maintain. Same thing with along here. Take our grading bucket, and or the grader box, and just kind of roll all this back so that it is like I can get in there with the weeder now, but it's a bit of a struggle. If we rounded that off a little bit, it'd be easier. And definitely over here we can kind of come up this hill, so we can come down with all of this and work it over. So you can definitely tell that it's starting to get warm out, starting to get stuff on the pond, but not too bad out. Here after Dad bush hogged it, so obviously not quite as nice as the finish mower, but gets it all knocked down. See, we still need to kind of go in there, but really just want to focus on getting this down and getting the stuff kind of where the home site is in there. So he's working on getting that now. I want to start being able to mow some of that, just to be able to keep it down and everything. So he's working on getting that. So a lot of stuff still in there that we need to get pulled out. So a lot of mostly just dead stuff and small stuff that's down. So he's been mulching all that up, and then hopefully eventually we'll be able to go through with like the York rake and kind of clean that stuff up so I can start mowing it with the finish mower. Here's a better look at those poles, but they're obviously going to trailer someplace. So here's just a little bit of footage of him kind of mowing in under the trees. So this is kind of between the open area and the home site. So just kind of getting some of this cut down. Again, there's quite a bit of kind of dead stuff and debris in here that we've slowly been cleaning up, but still have some. So kind of get some of that mulched up with the bush hog, and then eventually try to go through and get more of that picked up, and then turn it gradually into yard that we can start mowing with the zero turn. An update here. Okay, so I'm just kind of looking around, see what we got done. So this is the ditch that goes out to the road, so just kind of got that cleaned up. We need to kind of swale it like we did this one over here, where it's kind of a much more gradual. Whenever it's dry, I can actually mow through there. Don't have a lot of running water, we just have some of the runoff that comes down here. We need to do a little bit more work to get it to run through the pipe, but if we get a heavier rain, it does come through. So just in here, got a lot of this cleaned up. I know I didn't get it before, but it was just real grown up and a lot of crap in here, so got a lot of that cleaned up finally. Same thing with over here, it's just grown up and had a lot going on. So this is going to be the eventual wood yard in here, just because there's going to be a lot of flat room, so good spot to split firewood. In some of these open spots will be a good spot to build another firewood shed to be able to store some of that. And then also have the sawmill and everything down here whenever it gets moved. Nice flat area so you're not always dealing with cants or tilts, and have plenty of room to build a wood yard to store wood and then get it on the mill. So some of these smaller trees will eventually come out. For now they're not hurting anything, so we're just leaving them. But in this area, I want to open this up. All the sycamores will cut down just because they get big, soak up light. They aren't great wood, but we have some pretty big ones here that we want to drop, and we hope to use them for a little bit of construction and see how that goes. So one thing to be cognizant of when using tractor and bush hogging is making sure that you don't have stuff getting collected on the screens like this. So make sure to go through and clean those off so you have proper cooling to the engine. Running the bush hog like that on a hot day can definitely create some heat. So I want to make sure it has maximum airflow, so get that stuff cleaned up when possible. It looks like we have the two. So I have two sycamores back here, and then the two pine, yeah. Kind of got a curve to it. So we may want to cut that off. Pretty soft, or? Okay. So for the little tractor, we don't have a quick attach. It is a pin-on bucket, but what we can do, and what we've done in the past, is take some pieces of 4-inch channel, cut a couple holes in them, and bolt on forks. So these just have a couple of bolts that bolt the forks on, so you can use it to pick up some logs. So here we have a couple pieces of pine that we drug out and brought up front and have been sitting for a bit. I want to get those taken back to the homestead so we can work on milling those up and see how the pine does. It has been sitting for about a year, year and a half, so we're not 100% sure, but when you stab it with like a knife, it seems to be pretty solid still. So we're putting these sideways across on the deck of the trailer. Here we have another piece of sycamore that had been sitting, but cutting it and stabbing that with a knife, it's pretty doughy. So we went ahead and added it to the green hole. It was too doughy to even really use as firewood. But back around on the south trail, or on the north trail, we have a piece of maple that we wanted to get taken back and make sure that we got it milled up. It's a nice size. So he took that back, dumped off the sycamore that was rotten, and meets me back around where the food plot's gonna go, and we get a piece of maple picked up. A few logs stacked here, so of course it's the one in the back, but it's a decent size. But we cut it down. We have about 8.5 feet across on the trailer, so cut it down so we have that, and leave those pieces back there. And we have a wide enough path that he's able to just carry that out, so we don't have to drag it out and get it all muddy and dirty. Makes it easier on the sawmill blades. So that's another one of those reasons it's nice having the trails cut around, is have more access to different areas like this. So again, using the forks to get it on and push it in place. And we have another little piece of pine back here that we want to get put on. So we'll put it up top. Actually use the tilt of the trailer to our advantage to help hold those logs. There's enough space there, but they kind of want to roll away, so just use the tilt. Get a couple of ratchets on there to hold everything together. Then we take the impact and wrench and take off those forks so we can get the tractor on. And drive the tractor up, get everything pinned up against, and call it a good day. Thank you for watching as we work on cleaning up 100 acres and get ready for the summer. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.